Alright, it's Monday Book Talk time. I read 4 books this last week. Probably my favorite of the 4 would be The Raven King, the conclusion to the Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. Miss Quarter talked about them in her video, so I'm not going to talk about them a lot except to say you should read them, they're good. Sadly, they're over, but they're good. I also read All American Boys. This is a 2-author collaboration. It is about police brutality. Okay. Setup of the story is there's a boy, an African-American boy, who is stopped into a convenience store on his way to a party to pick up some snacks. As he's picking up his snacks, he realizes he's left his phone in his bag. He's going to tell his friend, I'm going to get these and I'm going to be on my way. He leans over to get in his bag, and a lady who is looking in the drink cooler steps backward, trips over the boy, falls in the floor. The convenience store clerk sees them, thinks that the young man is trying to steal food. There's a police officer who sees the situation, drags the boy out of the convenience store and beats him severely enough to send him to the hospital in front of the store. Okay, witnesses everywhere. But in the story, you have dual perspective. You have the perspective of the boy who is beaten, and then you have the perspective of a young man who witnesses the beating, who is also very closely involved with the police officer that is involved. I think this story does a great job of seeing both sides, because it talks about the perspective of the young man as well as the police officer in such a way that you really identify and feel with both sides of the story. So it's very thought-provoking. It is not one of those where they just basically hammer the same point and over again. I would definitely give it a read. Great stuff. Also, the other 2 books that I read I don't have in my hand. I read Goodbye Stranger on my phone. The main characters in Goodbye Stranger are 7th graders, but there's a lot of issues that I think that teenagers and adults also would enjoy reading about. It is a great story about friendship, about first love. There's a lot of also talk about bodily autonomy and body image issues, and also the writing was just really very moving, so I definitely give that a shot. And The Serpent King, I read this in print, but I got it from the public library and I left it at my house. I think that I have ordered it for us as well. The Serpent King is very interesting because the main character, his father was a snake-handling preacher who has been sent to jail for having child pornography on his computer. Okay? So, and the son had to testify in his trial. So a little bit of uncomfortableness going along. The son has the same name as the dad, so anytime anybody looks up the son's name, they're going to find all the stuff about the dad. He lives in a very small town, so everybody knows everybody's business. There was some weirdness with his grandfather as well that I'm not going to spoil for you. But again, another story where you have multiple perspectives. You have the perspective of Dill, who's again the son of the snake-handling preacher. You have his friend Lydia, who runs a blog called Dolly Wood, spelled W-O-U-L-D, Dolly Wood, and it's a fashion blog. She's one of these girls who really just doesn't feel like she fits in her small town. She plans to go off to New York City to go to college and join the world of fashion. And then you have their friend Travis. Travis is an avid fantasy reader. He carries around a staff. He likes to pretend that he is a character in a fantasy novel. So very interesting characters. Obviously, they don't quite all fit in at their school, but they found each other. They have a really great dynamic. Something terrible happens in the book. I'm not going to tell you what that is, of course, but it was a great read. I definitely would recommend everything that I read this week. So hopefully you'll find something interesting as well, and we'll see you later.